They can love you and still fear you, because love feels like exposure. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that contradiction, you know how it can make you doubt your own reality. One day they are soft, present, curious, almost tender in the way they look at you, and the next day they are distant, vague, suddenly busy, suddenly unreachable. And you're left trying to connect the dots, asking yourself what changed. What did I do? What did I say? How did we go from warmth to coldness overnight? But the truth is, with an avoidant, it's not always about what you did. It's often about what you triggered. Because for an avoidant, love is not just romance. Love is vulnerability. Love is being seen. Love is being needed. Love is the possibility of disappointing someone who matters. Love is the risk of attachment. And attachment is the very place their nervous system learned to fear. So when they meet someone who actually touches them, someone who feels different, someone who feels special, the part of them that wants closeness opens, and the part of them that fears closeness panics. That's why they can love you and still fear you. They fear you not because you are dangerous, but because you are powerful enough to reach them. And reaching them means you can affect them. You can leave a mark. You can make them feel. And feeling is the thing they spent years training themselves to control, shut down, minimize, or outrun. So when you enter their life and you bring warmth, depth, and sincerity, they feel the pull of connection. They feel the comfort of you. They feel the softness they didn't even know they missed. They feel the safety in your presence. And then the fear comes right behind it, like a shadow whispering, don't get too close. Don't rely, don't commit, don't let her see you. Don't let her expect something you might fail to give. This is why intimacy can be the trigger. Not drama, not chaos, intimacy. The moment things start becoming real, the moment you start becoming a real person to them, and not just a moment, their defenses wake up. Because a real person comes with real responsibility. A real person has feelings. A real person deserves consistency. A real person will notice the gaps. And an avoidant often knows deep down that they struggle with consistency. So instead of leaning in, they protect themselves by leaning out. They create distance to calm their nervous system. They delay replies. They get vague. They slow down. They disappear for a while. And they do it not always with a conscious plan, but as a reflex, like someone stepping back from a fire they didn't expect to feel so close. And that's why it hurts you, because you see their distance and you call it rejection. You see their silence and you call it indifference. You see them pulling away and you call it, I'm not enough. But often, what you're seeing is fear. Fear of being responsible for love. Fear of being vulnerable. Fear of being seen in their flaws. Fear of failing you. Fear of losing control. And here is what you need to know. Their fear can be real and your pain can be real at the same time. Their fear does not erase the impact on you. Their fear does not excuse the inconsistency. Their fear does not automatically make the relationship safe. It only explains the pattern. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is use their fear as a reason to accept less than you need. You start saying, they're scared because they care. They're scared because I'm special. So I should wait. I should be patient. I should prove I'm safe. I should not ask for too much. I should not make them feel pressured. I should hold my feelings quietly so they don't run. And that is how you start abandoning yourself. You stop expressing what you need. You stop asking for clarity. You stop requiring consistency. You start tiptoeing around your own heart. You start making yourself smaller so their fear can stay comfortable. And you call it love, but it's survival. So let me say this with love and firmness. You do not heal someone's fear by sacrificing your needs. You do not create safety by tolerating unsafety. You do not build intimacy by accepting distance as a relationship standard. If they love you and fear you, the question becomes simple. Can they stay? Can they communicate when they feel overwhelmed? Can they take accountability instead of disappearing? Can they tell the truth instead of going vague? Can they learn to regulate without punishing you with silence? Because loving you in their heart is not enough if it keeps harming you in their behavior. And I know, you want to be the one who finally changes their story. You want to be the one who makes them feel safe. You want to be the one who proves love can be good. But you cannot be someone's rehabilitation center if they won't participate in the healing. So your power is not chasing them when fear makes them run. Your power is holding steady when fear makes them withdraw. Your power is becoming the calm standard in the room. You can be compassionate without being available for inconsistency. You can be understanding without being erased. You can love them and still choose yourself. Because here is the truth about being special. Being special is not supposed to mean being tolerated in pieces. Being special is not supposed to mean being loved in secret while you suffer in public. Being special is not supposed to mean you're always waiting for the next moment of warmth to return. Being special should come with effort. Being special should come with clarity. Being special should come with consistency. So if they fear you because you reach them, let that be information, not a trap. Let it tell you that you matter, yes, but also let it tell you what they need to work on. And then you make your decision based on behavior, not on the fantasy of what they feel. Because real love is not just feeling deep. Real love is choosing deep. Real love is staying present. Real love is communicating. Real love is repair. Real love is the courage to be seen and still show up. So if they can love you and still fear you, don't let that become your reason to chase harder. Let it become your reason to hold your standards higher. If you are truly special, you will not need to beg to be treated that way. The right person will not fear your love, they will feel safe in it. And the person who does fear it, they either rise to meet you with growth, or they lose access to you with their avoidance. Because your heart is not a place for someone to visit when they feel brave and abandoned, when they feel scared. Your heart is a home, and only someone who is willing to stay deserves a key. Special doesn't mean safe, it means high stakes, and this is the part that confuses your heart the most. Because when someone treats you like you matter deeply, when you feel that spark, that recognition, that sense of being seen, you assume it should bring closeness. You assume it should make them step toward you, not away from you. But with an avoidant, being special doesn't calm their nervous system, it activates it. Because special means you matter enough to hurt them. Special means your absence would be felt. Special means your disappointment would carry weight. Special means your needs would be real. And real needs create responsibility. So when they start to realize you're not just another option, not just another connection, not just another distraction, something inside them tightens. The stakes rise. The fantasy of easy connection turns into the reality of emotional consequence. And instead of excitement, they feel pressure. Instead of safety, they feel exposure. This is why the moment you start feeling closer, the moment things deepen, the moment you begin to feel chosen, they suddenly pull back. It feels backwards. But emotionally it makes sense for someone who associates intimacy with loss of control. Because when you are special, they can no longer hide behind indifference. They can no longer pretend it doesn't matter. They can no longer escape responsibility without guilt. And guilt is unbearable for someone who hasn't learned how to repair. So their nervous system does the only thing it knows how to do. It creates distance. Not because you scared them with demands. Not because you did something wrong. But because you triggered something real. And this is where your heart gets trapped. Because you start interpreting their fear as proof of your importance. You start thinking, if they're reacting this strongly, it must mean I matter. If they're pulling away, it must be because I'm special. And that belief can keep you waiting far longer than you should, because it gives meaning to pain. But being special is not supposed to hurt this much. Being special is not supposed to cost your peace. Being special is not supposed to mean confusion and emotional whiplash. Being special is supposed to come with care. So let's talk about why special feels threatening to them. Because special means permanence. It means the possibility of building something. It means the expectation of showing up again and again. It means consistency is no longer optional. And avoidants often fear permanence, because permanence feels like being trapped in their past wounds, in expectations they don't know how to meet, in roles they don't feel capable of sustaining. So they protect themselves by keeping things temporary feelings, temporary closeness, temporary promises, temporary access. And when you start to feel permanent to them, when you start to feel like someone who could actually stay in their life, their fear spikes. Because permanence means, if this goes wrong, it will really hurt. And rather than risk that pain, they create space. And you feel that space as abandonment. You feel it as rejection. You feel it as being unwanted. But often it's the opposite. You are wanted too much for their current capacity. And that is the heartbreaking paradox. The more you matter, the more their defenses activate. So they push you away in moments when you needed reassurance. They go silent when you needed clarity. They pull back when you leaned in. And your nervous system starts trying to fix it. You become softer. You become quieter. You become more understanding. You start filtering your needs so you don't overwhelm them. You start convincing yourself that if you just stay calm enough, patient enough, low maintenance enough, they'll stop being scared. But fear doesn't heal through your self-erasure. Fear heals through responsibility and growth. And that growth has to be theirs. Because if you stay in a dynamic where you are special, but not secure, you slowly teach yourself that love equals anxiety. You teach yourself that closeness must be earned. You teach yourself that your needs are dangerous, and that lesson will follow you into future relationships if you don't interrupt it now. So this is the shift you need to make. Stop measuring your value by how intensely someone reacts to you, and start measuring your safety by how consistently someone shows up for you. Intensity is not intimacy. Fear is not devotion. Being special is not the same as being chosen. Someone can think you are special and still not be able to love you in a way that is healthy. Someone can be emotionally attached to you and still be emotionally unavailable. Someone can fear losing you and still do nothing to keep you. And that is why your standard cannot be how deeply they feel. It has to be how reliably they act. Do they communicate when they feel overwhelmed? Do they take responsibility instead of disappearing? Do they try to understand your experience, not just defend their own? Do they make room for your needs instead of punishing you for them? Because being special without safety is a slow heartbreak. It keeps you in a state of hope mixed with pain. It keeps you waiting for the day their fear turns into courage. It keeps you emotionally invested in potential instead of reality. And potential is not something you can build a life on. So if they love you and fear you because you are special, take that as information, not as a reason to stay stuck. Let it tell you that you matter, but also let it tell you what they are not yet capable of giving. And then choose yourself accordingly, because the right person will not fear the responsibility that comes with loving you. The right person will not see your depth as danger. The right person will not pull away when things get real. The right person will feel the stakes and lean in, not retreat. And that is the kind of love you deserve, not a love that trembles at the thought of choosing you, but a love that feels steady, brave, and present in the reality of you. Being special should feel like safety, not suspense. Their pull is not proof of your value, it's proof of their fear, and this is the sentence that can save you from turning your life into an endless audition. Because when someone comes close and then disappears, when they get warm and then go cold, when they pull you in and then push you away, your mind naturally tries to make it mean something beautiful. You tell yourself, they wouldn't act like this if they didn't care. They wouldn't be this intense if I wasn't special. They wouldn't keep coming back if I didn't matter. But what if the coming back is not love? What if the coming back is nervous system relief? What if the coming back is discomfort with losing access? What if the coming back is the fear of being alone, not the readiness to be present? Because pull dynamics can look like passion, but they are often just anxiety wearing a romantic mask. The push is the part of them that craves connection. The part that likes your warmth, your attention, your presence. The part that feels soothed by you. The part that wants to be close enough to feel loved. And that part is real, yes. But then the pull comes because closeness triggers their fear. Closeness raises stakes. Closeness creates expectations. Closeness means you might ask for consistency. Closeness means they might have to communicate, commit, repair. And that responsibility feels like pressure to a nervous system that associates intimacy with danger. So they pull away, not because they suddenly stopped caring, but because they started feeling exposed. And exposure is the avoidance trigger. Exposure means being seen. Exposure means being needed. Exposure means being accountable. Exposure means being vulnerable. And vulnerability is the one place they have trained themselves not to live. So they retreat, they get busy, they get vague, they delay replies, they suddenly need space. They disappear. And you, because you are human, because you care, because you want clarity, you start chasing the reason. You start looking for the sentence that will fix it. You start trying to be softer so they don't run. You start trying to be cooler so you don't look needy. You start trying to be perfect so they won't feel pressured. And now you're in the audition. Now your love life becomes a performance. Now your emotional needs become something you hide. Now your heart becomes something you manage. And you start calling it love, but it's a trauma loop. This is where you need a clean truth, the push. Pull is not proof you're special, it's proof they are dysregulated. It is proof they don't know how to hold closeness. It is proof their nervous system is running the relationship, not their maturity. And if you don't understand this, you'll spend years trying to earn stability from someone whose default is instability. Because here's what pull does to you. It conditions you. It conditions you to value the highs because the lows are so painful. It conditions you to tolerate confusion because the moments of warmth feel like relief. It conditions you to accept crumbs because you're afraid of losing the whole person. It conditions you to chase, to overthink, to scan for signs, to become addicted to the hope that this time it will stay good. And that conditioning feels like love. But love doesn't require you to be conditioned. Love doesn't require you to abandon your peace to prove your loyalty. Love doesn't require you to accept inconsistency as romance. Love doesn't make you feel like you're constantly one wrong message away from being left. So when they push, and it feels like intimacy, and you feel chosen, your heart opens. You lean in. You soften. You dream, you imagine a future. And then they pull, and everything inside you collapses. You feel foolish for hoping. You feel ashamed for caring. You feel anxious. You feel like you need to fix it quickly before it becomes permanent. And that anxious urgency is exactly what keeps the cycle alive. Because the avoidant senses your need for reassurance and feels pressured again, so they pull further. It becomes a loop. Your anxiety triggers their avoidance. Their avoidance triggers your anxiety, and both of you call it connection. But it's not connection, it's dysregulation. And here is what's heartbreaking. You can be valuable, lovable, rare, and still get stuck in this loop. Your value doesn't protect you from someone else's fear. Your love doesn't magically heal someone's nervous system. Your patience doesn't create emotional availability in someone who refuses to grow. So stop using their pull as a scorecard of your worth, because your mind is doing that. It's saying when they come back, I'm worthy. When they disappear, I'm not. When they text, I matter. When they go silent, I don't. And that is how your self-esteem becomes a hostage. You deserve better than hostage love. You deserve a love that doesn't have you refreshing your phone to feel okay. You deserve a love that doesn't make you question your reality. You deserve a love that is steady enough to let your nervous system relax. So what do? You stop chasing reassurance, and you start setting standards. You stop interpreting fear as romance, and you start interpreting behavior as truth. You stop believing the intensity is a sign, and you start requiring consistency as the sign, because consistency is the real proof of love. Consistency is the real proof of readiness. Consistency is the real proof of emotional maturity. And if someone cannot be consistent, their feelings are not enough to keep you safe. So the next time they push and you feel the warmth, enjoy it. But don't surrender your standards. Don't hand them full access to your heart because they showed up for a moment. Keep your boundaries quiet and firm. Let time reveal them. Let patterns reveal them. And the next time they pull away, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't beg. Don't over-explain. Step back and watch what happens when you don't rescue the connection. Watch whether they can communicate like an adult, or whether they punish you with silence. Watch whether they take responsibility, or whether they blame you for having needs. Because if you are truly special, you won't need to earn basic respect. If you are truly special, you won't need to beg for consistency. If you are truly special, the love will not be a mystery. The push-pull is proof of fear, not proof of your value. And once you understand that, you stop trying to be the perfect person to keep someone from running. You become the calm person who refuses to run after them. You become the person who chooses peace over suspense. You become the person who says, I care about you, but I will not live inside your fear. And that is when you finally step out of the loop, not because you stopped loving, but because you started loving yourself enough to require a love that doesn't keep leaving. Your power is calm standards, not chasing their reassurance. And this is the moment your whole love life can shift from anxiety to dignity. Because when you're dealing with an avoidant, your nervous system wants the quickest relief. It wants certainty. It wants a message back. It wants a clear answer. It wants to know, do you still want me? Do you still care? Am I still special to you? And in that urgency, you start doing what so many good hearts do. You chase reassurance. You send the extra text. You explain again. You soften your needs so they don't feel pressured. You try to fix the silence by being sweeter. You try to repair the distance by giving more. And in the moment, it feels like love. It feels like you're fighting for connection. It feels like you're being loyal. But what it often becomes is you training someone to only show up when you chase them. Because chasing reassurance rewards withdrawal. It teaches them, if I pull away, she will come closer. If I go quiet, she will fill the space. If I become vague, she will work harder to understand me. If I do the least, she will do the most. And that is not partnership, that is a nervous system imbalance. Your anxiety becomes the engine. Their avoidance becomes the brake, and you spend your life burning energy just to keep the relationship moving. Calm standards are different. Calm standards don't beg. Calm standards don't punish. Calm standards don't perform. Calm standards simply hold the line. They say, I care about you, and I will not abandon myself to keep you. I respect your pace, and I require consistency. I can be patient, and I cannot live in confusion. I can love you, and I will not chase you. That is power. Power is not making them respond. Power is being okay if they don't. Power is not proving you're special. Power is knowing you are. Power is not forcing closeness. Power is refusing a connection that only exists when you earn it. And the reason this works emotionally is because calm standards regulate you. When you stop chasing reassurance, you stop feeding the cycle. You stop letting their silence control your mood. You stop letting their distance dictate your worth. You stop handing them the remote control to your nervous system. Because chasing reassurance is really you trying to calm yourself through them. You are trying to get your body to relax by getting their validation. And it makes sense because you care. But it's also the trap, because now your peace depends on their behavior. And when you make your peace depend on someone who is inconsistent, you will live in a permanent state of emotional suspense. So calm standards begin with one internal decision. I will not chase what is meant to be given freely. If someone wants to be with you, they will communicate. If someone values you, they will be consistent. If someone is emotionally mature, they will repair, not disappear. If someone is ready, you will not have to decode them. And that doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become clear. You stop sending paragraphs to someone who gives one-word replies. You stop begging for time from someone who makes you feel like a burden. You stop asking for basic respect like it's a favor. You stop turning yourself into a negotiator for your own worth. You begin matching energy, but not in a petty way, in a self-respecting way. You give what is given. You show up where you are met. You invest where there is consistency. You don't punish, you simply stop over-giving. And here is what happens when you do that. Reality reveals itself. Because the avoidant now has to face the relationship without your chasing. They can no longer rely on your anxiety to keep the connection alive. They can no longer rely on your extra effort to smooth over their distance. They either step up and meet you, or they step out and prove that what they wanted was comfort without commitment. And either outcome saves you. If they step up, you finally get the relationship you've been trying to build alone. If they step out, you finally get the truth you've been avoiding. But the worst outcome is you staying in a relationship where your effort is the glue, because that glue will eventually exhaust you. Now let's talk about the emotional part, because calm standards require you to tolerate discomfort. It requires you to sit in the silence without chasing it away. It requires you to let them wander sometimes. It requires you to let them feel the consequence of distance. And that's hard, because you're a loving person, and loving people want to fix, explain, reassure, soften. But you are not being unloving when you hold a boundary. You are being loyal to yourself. You are saying, I will not teach my heart to accept crumbs. I will not teach my nervous system that love equals waiting. I will not teach my future self that I have to beg for consistency. And the more you practice this, the more your confidence returns. Because confidence is not loud, it's stable. Confidence is you knowing that if someone can't meet you, you will survive. Confidence is you trusting that your standards will not cost you the right person. Confidence is you believing that the right person will not be scared off by your need for clarity. So when they pull away, you don't spiral. You don't write a speech. You don't over-explain. You become calm. You step back. You live your life. You keep your dignity. You make space for someone to choose you without being chased. Because here's the truth. The love that is meant for you will not require you to beg for it. The love that is meant for you will not punish you with silence. The love that is meant for you will not keep you guessing. The love that is meant for you will meet your calm standards with calm effort. And if someone is avoidant and truly wants you, they will have to rise to that level. They will have to communicate when they want to withdraw. They will have to repair when they make a mistake. They will have to be honest about their fear instead of disappearing into it. They will have to choose you with behavior. So your power is calm standards, not chasing reassurance. And that power is not about manipulating them. It's about protecting you. It's about ending the cycle where your love becomes a chase. It's about turning your heart back into a home, not a waiting room. Because you were never meant to be someone's question mark. You were meant to be someone's clear decision.